Is there something wrong with you, brother? You never come with us anymore. We would love to share it with you. And what is the
My name is Panam, Percy. I live in Nigeria. I was born here, but I schooled in Nigeria.
Yeah. We have been together too long to pretend.
Honestly, give thanks to God for who He has made me, and I would say who I eat. In this situation, not who I am, because I'm giving the glory to I am. And so sometimes I just delight in, switching things around.
Lord, make them one as we are one. Come, let us worship together. Come, let us praise the Lord. Come, let us lift up our voices to the Lord.
My name is Panam, Percy. I live in Nigeria. I was born here, but I schooled in Nigeria. My primary school was under the North American Baptist Convention in Zaria. So I was raised up basically American. My secondary school was a Catholic secondary school. Run by an Irish missionary called St. Patrick's Secondary School. And I was moved from St. Patrick's to an Anglican school run by Anglican missionaries called St. Paul's College in Wusasa, Zaria. And from there, I was now moved again to Government Technical School in Soba in Zaria, in the outskirts of Zaria, 47 kilometers away from Zaria. And from there, that was where I finished my City and Guilds London, GCE London, and all the qualifications that one needed to have to be a technician. Then from there, I went to Kaduna Polytechnic, where I first had my HND in mechanical engineering. Then same thing in architecture, before proceeding to England to read sound engineering. Then moved to the US. I did music engineering, music production technology. And so by God's grace, I have acquired 3 PhD degrees in music therapy, sound engineering, philosophy, and the 4th one that came last December 15th was in social sciences. And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to acquire such knowledge because it actually helps me to communicate much easily or easier with people, especially being able to communicate truth and the scriptures. Instead of using dogmas of biblical references, I've been blessed to simplify those otherwise difficult things like faith. So by God's grace, this acquisition of knowledge has helped me to panel beat, and douse those dogmas that people don't even seem to really understand or use in our daily language, to just knowing that when you say faith, you're actually talking about knowledge,
Knowledge.
knowledge from God. And knowledge is in three levels. You have the knowledge, you have understanding, and you have wisdom, and these are the three levels of intellect. And so these are some of the things that education has actually helped me to be able to acquire, and today I can exhibit them. So it's not about the acquisition of the knowledge, but it is the usage of the knowledge to help people that actually need it for self-development and for relationship with God and man.
That's wonderful, because I mean a lot of people know you for your music,
Yes, sir.
which is quite interesting because again, what they know you for your music. I
Right.
mean, for me, as a young man, I started enjoying your music,
Yes,
and I
sir.
still do.
Thank
I
you.
mean, it's something you can still find me playing. The CD is a permanent feature in my car, so I listen to it all the time. I mean, you go online. So I was wondering, now you studied music,
Right.
yes, and then I'm kind of amazed by the different dimensions of music that you studied. Um, so at any time, how did you come about becoming a musician? Because studying music doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to
Absolutely.
turn out to be
Right.
so.
Being a musician is a gift.
Yeah.
You cannot be a musician if you are not gifted with that ability, with the music ability. It's something that one is born with. It's an inborn, God-given ability in a man. And my father was the first person to discover this ability in me. And this was exactly 1960, when he had returned from Congo, from one of those wars.
Okay, it was in the
And
military.
yeah, everybody military. So he got back and brought an instrument called the accordion.
Yes.
So that instrument was kind of funny to me, but I loved the sound.
The sound.
But the behavior and the character of the instrument, is like it's breathing, and actually endeared me to it. And I heard my father, play those notes, and I was just caught, with the skill, how he was displaying those, notes and all of that. I didn't know what they were called then. And so he just went and kept, the accordion to rest. As he left the house, I went and picked it up. When he got back from, his outing,
He met
me
you
playing it. Playing the same songs
He played.
he played. And it was just amazing because I knew what notes you got when you, pressed. I knew the notes you got when you sucked in the air. It just had to be, inbuilt. You have to be wired. If
To
not,
do it.
it's not doable. So then 1961, he introduced me to the harmonica. And same thing, same phenomenon. He just finished playing and he said, "You've been looking at me for too long, so try and see if you can try it." It's the same principle with the accordion that he had, the one he had.
Yeah.
It was not the chromatic accordion. This was just a simple one with the buttons. They just give you this, just the 7 notes. And I started blowing that thing. And I was just enjoying it. The very first day he gave it to me, I blew that thing for, I think, about an hour. And so he came to me and said, "Please give it to me, because I don't want you to fall sick." Because
it requires
your breathing, it takes a lot of your breathing and all that. And he didn't know that it was just a gift. So I became a drummer in the club in 1964. So I started professional music in 1964 as a drummer in a club called the Area Garden Club or Hotel in Zaria, at a place called Dogombochi in Zaria. And that was where it all started from. But my training in music
Yeah.
started in 1970. Sorry, in 1967, when my father now sent me to be trained by a music teacher, a musicologist, who trained me in the rudiments of music, how to read and write music, and also trained my voice for 5 years. So I had full musical training for 5 years from grade 1 to the 12th grade.
So that was before you went to the university to study
Oh,
music?
obviously before, before I went in for music therapy.
For music therapy.
Yeah. So
why the choice of music therapy?
Well, the choice of music therapy actually came when I was studying the Bible. I had already given my life to the Lord Jesus Christ in 1974.
Okay.
1974. 10 years after secular music. So 74, gave my life to the Lord, and I was trained as a missionary by Uncle Bayo Famanure of Capro. And I was reading the Bible because of everything I heard, David, about music, it was all David. So I went to study David, and I discovered what David was able to do with his music. That when he was called to minister to King Saul, in Samuel chapter 16, from verse 16 right through to 32, or 23 rather, it was amazing that David was called to play for King Saul because King Saul was sick.
Yes.
What we would call today is schizophrenia, because he had multiple personality syndrome. He was possessed
and music
by an evil spirit.
To reality.
And these people who were his ministers said to him, let us get a musician that is skillful, so that when he plays, you will be made well and the evil spirit will depart. I was intrigued. You mean as far back as that time, these people understood that music was not just for entertainment, it was for problem solving, especially medical or psychological or spiritual. And I was like, okay, I needed to know what this thing was all about. And so that triggered, my interest in what was called music therapy. So music for healing or music medicine. And that was exactly what triggered.
Okay, but again, coming to now, let's talk about, the film industry in Nigeria.
Right.
Given your technical expertise on music, on
sound.
So what is on sound?
Yeah.
What is your take on, Nollywood and Kannywood or whatever wood it's called? It's come a long way.
Yeah.
Technically, aesthetically,
right.
more beautiful, more grand, and But then the question is, there are some critics who believe that there's still the sound area needs a lot to be desired.
Absolutely.
So I would like to know your take on it.
Absolutely. Nollywood, grew from, out of what I would call the NTA. NTA actually gave birth to Nollywood because of the dramas and all of that. The
telemovies,
and you had Cockroach at Dawn, which happened to be one of the very core productions, that caught the attention of everybody, nationally and probably worldwide. So Cockroach at Dawn gave, birth, if I would say, to things like Village Headmaster, The Masquerade,
Behind the Clouds.
Yeah, Behind the Clouds, which interestingly, I was a music consultant and producer of Behind the Clouds, and the Supple Blues, which I was, in charge of the sound and the music. If you listen to the quality of sound in those productions, they were excellent. They were excellent and well balanced.
Like every other thing in the production.
Like every other thing in the production. It was beautiful. But today, even though the picture quality of today has honestly improved beyond leaps and bounds, we use the same cameras that is used out there in the developed world.
Yes.
Whether it's a black magic or whatever.
Yeah.
We use them today. They're everywhere. Or any other high profile cameras. Lighting has improved considerably, but sound still has issues. And the reason is, um, we from my understanding, what was supposed to be the primary source or the primary source of capture of sound has now become the secondary. Now, the boom,
the
boom mic, which used to be the primary capture, source of capture, has now become the secondary with regards to Nigerian production. So they prefer to use the lavalier, the lapel mic, as the primary source of sound. Now, what happens there with the mic buried inside your clothing? It is not even wrapped to stop it from being muffled.
Yeah.
So by the time there is a hugging, the sound disappears. So you're left with the low, mid, and the low frequencies of the microphone, and you hear something like, or I can hear you. Instead of I can hear you, you hear I can hear you. So all the sibilances vanish just because
there's contact,
right, and then it closes, the
it's
direct,
like it's squished,
right, so what I would want to see is the actual treatment or capture of sound with all the gadgets they use right there on set, instead of taking sound directly from the source, from the microphone into the camera or directly into the recorder. There are processes. You need a sound mixer, an audio mixer. You need compressors. First of all, set them well, such that should there be a change in dynamics where the sound, the act would need to shout, it will still retain its limit, without spiking and going into distortion. So we have those happening right now in the audio production on Nigerian movies or Nollywood production. So after the capture, we need to go in and process the sound, such that even where you have, the muffling of the sound, you could isolate that and correct it by altering the frequencies from the previous clear ones. Deal with that, process just that segment, and continue. And there are other times that some of the subjects, are completely off the microphone. So even the mic in close proximity is not even active, and it becomes difficult to actually pick the sound. It's almost as if one cast is picking sound from the other person's mic. So which,
that affects the
right,
quality.
It affects the quality.
But what of the situation, because we're talking about processing the sound, what of a situation where the sound, the available sound is it's from, for instance, say a lavalier, and is directly hooked to the camera, because I agree, if the sound is passed through the system like you mentioned, then the ability to adjust, to refine, to get a high quality. But in a situation where these gadgets are unavailable, because my mind now is thinking about the budget. Don't you think that's part of the factor?
The interesting thing is that it's not a high budget gadget to use. Okay, like some of the cameras actually have what you call the limiter. So if you just activate that function on the camera, it will, peg, the limit
The limit.
of,
How
the punch, especially when there is a,
kind of sudden
loud sound, instead of it spiking, is the spike into the reds that, we don't want at all, at all. We just want to keep everything below zero, right there, keeping it right down. And uh, getting, something like a compressor, an audio compressor, is not a big deal. I'm not sure it costs up to 150,000.
that's relatively cheap.
Yeah, that's about $100.
Yeah, but again, isn't there the question of ignorance and lack of professionalism? Because one of the things that I noticed again is even the other types of sounds.
Right.
There's, there appears to be an emphasis on the dialogue.
Yeah.
At the expense of the other
moods,
incidental music,
right?
Noises, ambient sound. So, what do you think about that? Because the awareness that these things are necessary.
Right.
When you were talking about these other programs, the
the
Kokora Dawn, etc.
Right.
I mean, the signature music. When you hear anywhere, everybody knows this is it.
Right.
The incidental music, they are standard. The signature, there's a lot of this stuff. So, but then they appear not to be available, or probably taking notice of in
Okay, in the case of Kokora Dawn, since it was a series, it was easy to, create songs or tracks that could be played over and over, and Kokora Dawn ran for several years. And bum 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 bum, beautiful, lovely.
I can still hear it in my head.
Yeah, and that was done by Bongos Ikwe.
Yes. The cockroach.
Beautiful. But today, even with our one-time kind of movies, we actually don't sit down to think about writing something that will stick. Music that can be played on its own.